One mistake can destroy everything. The night is heavy at Nevermore Academy. The full moon pushes pale light across the gothic towers, casting sharp shadows that stretch like claws over the courtyard. Inside the dorms, the usual silence of midnight is broken. A faint vibration cuts through the stillness, phones buzzing on desks, screens flickering on one after another. Students sit up in bed, confusion written across their faces. One click, another swipe. Then gasps fill the rooms. What they see isn't just gossip. It's explosive. The leaked photos appear suddenly, shared across the entire campus in less than a minute. No one knows who started it, but everyone is already hooked. Ophelia's name spreads like fire. Her image, frozen in secret moments that were never meant to be seen, is now plastered across every screen. The camera shows only flashes, a group chat exploding with messages, students covering their mouths in shock, and someone laughing cruelly as they forward the images on. The whispers travel faster than the moonlight. In the hallways, the silence breaks into murmurs, then sharp-edged rumors that cut through the night. Did you see them? I can't believe it. She's ruined. By the time the morning sun rises, Ophelia's life at Nevermore has shifted. The air itself feels heavier, poisoned with judgment and curiosity. Cut to Wednesday, standing in the shadows of the common room, watching. Her eyes are not shocked. They are sharp, calculating. She doesn't gasp like the others. She doesn't whisper or scroll through her phone. Instead, she listens. She absorbs the chaos, already piecing together the threads that others cannot see. The narration strikes through the noise. A secret too dangerous to stay hidden has been unleashed. And at Nevermore Academy, nothing spreads faster than betrayal. The shot slows on Ophelia's face as she realizes what has happened. Her phone slips from her trembling hand, the screen shattering as it hits the stone floor. Her breath quickens, her world caving in. This isn't just a scandal. It's the start of something far more dangerous. The music rises, eerie and pulsing, like a heartbeat quickening under pressure. Students stare, teachers whisper in the shadows. And in that silence, Wednesday steps forward into the frame. Her voice, cold and calm, cuts through everything. This changes everything. The screen glitches, the sound distorts, and then it cuts to black. White words fade in. Wednesday Season 3 fan trailer. Asterisk, the morning light crawls across Nevermore Academy like an unwanted truth. The stone walls catch the pale sun, but instead of bringing warmth, it exposes the cracks already forming inside the school. By breakfast, the dining hall feels different. Every table is alive with noise, but not the usual chatter of classes or weekend plans. Today it's whispers that cut like knives. The camera sweeps across the room, students leaning in, hands covering their mouths, eyes darting to the center of attention. And there she is, Ophelia. She walks through the doorway, her tray trembling in her grip. Every step echoes louder than it should. Conversations pause, then resume in sharp bursts as if her presence is fuel for the fire. She keeps her gaze forward, trying not to see the stares, but the sound of laughter from one corner makes her flinch. The screen blurs slightly, showing her perspective, faces turned, phones held low, images flashing before being tucked away again. The leaked photos are still everywhere. She can't escape them. Cut to a close-up. Enid sitting at the table with her friends, biting her lip. She wants to wave, to invite Ophelia over, but hesitation traps her. The weight of judgment is too heavy. The friendship they had just days ago now feels like fragile glass. Beside her, Xavier slams his phone down, frustrated, muttering, "This is wrong. She doesn't deserve this." But his words are drowned out by the louder voices around them. Students throwing careless comments like daggers. Principal Weem's voice pierces the scene. She steps into the hall, her heels striking the floor with authority. The chatter dies instantly. Her face is calm, too calm, but her eyes betray the storm brewing behind them. She addresses the students in her measured, commanding tone. Nevermore is a place of unity, of trust. Whoever is responsible for this violation has not only attacked a student, but the very foundation of our academy. Her words ripple through the room. Some students nod, guilt flickering in their expressions. Others smirk, unimpressed, already thinking of the next message to send. But one line lands heavier than the rest. With icy precision, Weems adds, "This changes everything." The camera cuts to Wednesday, sitting at the far end of the hall, expressionless. She doesn't eat. She doesn't move. She studies the crowd like a scientist observing a dangerous experiment. Her inner monologue begins. Her voice calm, deliberate, almost too quiet. Scandals are parasites. They feed on curiosity, grow in silence, and leave destruction in their wake. But this one has teeth. The montage begins. Hallways filled with whispers, group chats exploding with cruel edits of the photos, lockers slamming, notes shoved into Ophelia's hands with mocking words. The camera lingers on her face as she walks faster, her breath uneven. The sense of paranoia builds. Every glance feels like an accusation. Every whisper feels aimed at her. The fallout spreads. Beyond Ophelia, Enid confronts Wednesday in their room, her voice cracking. "She's falling apart. You can't just sit there writing about it, you have to do something." But Wednesday doesn't flinch. She simply replies, "Doing nothing reveals more." Then acting too soon? Whoever started this wants chaos? And chaos always leaves fingerprints. Meanwhile, Xavier defends Ophelia in front of others, nearly breaking into a fight. His loyalty paints a target on his back. Bianca, sharp-eyed and calculating, warns him, "You're next if you're not careful." Whoever's pulling the strings. They're not done yet. The tension rises like smoke, filling every corner of Nevermore. Trust evaporates. Groups that once stood together begin to splinter. Rumors twist friendships into suspicion, alliances into rivalries. And through it, all Wednesday watches. Not with pity, not with fear, but with intent. The narration returns, steady and ominous. Ophelia's photos were never just a mistake, they were a weapon. And at Nevermore Academy, weapons are never left unused. The screen flickers quick. Cuts of phones being dropped into toilets. Secret meetings behind closed doors, Ophelia crying in the bathroom, and a masked figure deleting files from a computer. The sound design sharpens, distorted whispers, pounding footsteps, doors slamming. The section ends with one final image, Ophelia standing alone in the courtyard at night. The camera pulls back slowly, showing dozens of windows lit up, shadows watching her from behind the glass. She looks up, her eyes red but burning with something new, not just fear, but defiance. Fade to black. Text appears, the fallout is only the beginning. Asterisk, the night swallows Nevermore in silence, but inside Wednesday's dorm room, the quiet hum of her typewriter cuts through the air like a heartbeat. Each key she presses is deliberate, rhythmic, controlled. The page in front of her isn't poetry, it's evidence. She doesn't write about feelings, she documents patterns. Names, times, connections, the words Ophelia, target, underlined in black ink. Next to it, a series of arrows point toward the word leak equals intentional. Her voice emerges in cold narration. Scandals do not appear, they are engineered. And the engineer always leaves behind a trail. The camera shifts. A corkboard looms above her desk, cluttered with torn pieces of paper, scribbled notes, and photographs pinned with sharp tacks. A red thread links Ophelia's shattered phone to Xavier's furious defense, to Enid's hesitation, to Bianca's warnings. It looks less like a mystery wall and more like a trap waiting to be sprung. Wednesday stares at it without blinking. The faint flicker of candlelight making her expression almost inhuman, cut to the hallways. Wednesday moves like a shadow, silent, unnoticed. Students linger in corners, trading whispers, some still scrolling through their phones, others deleting evidence before it finds the wrong eyes. She watches from the dark, her gaze dissecting every detail. A quick cut shows a hand sliding a flash drive into a locker. Another shot shows a paper being passed under a desk. Every action, no matter how small, is fuel for her suspicion. Ophelia, meanwhile, unravels. In one scene, she sits alone in the library, her eyes swollen from tears, her hand clutching the table as though it's the only thing holding her to the ground. When footsteps echo behind her, she turns too quickly, her face pale with fear, but it's only Xavier. He kneels beside her, whispering, "I'll protect you." His words are kind, but Wednesday, watching from the upper balcony, doesn't buy them. Her narration cuts in. Protection and possession are often confused. Motives are rarely pure. The tension thickens as Wednesday begins collecting evidence. In the dead of night, she slips into classrooms, rifling through discarded papers, her flashlight catching fragments of shredded notes. She copies phone numbers from unattended devices, sketches symbols she finds carved into desk wood. At one point, she kneels by a trash bin and pulls out a torn envelope with Ophelia's name scrawled in rushed handwriting. She places it carefully into her bag, her eyes narrowing. The screen glitches, brief flashes of a masked figure at a computer, fingers flying across the keyboard, files being dragged into a hidden folder. A camera lens clicking. We never see the face, only the reflection of the screen in their glasses, glowing ominous red. Back in her dorm, Wednesday pins a new photo on the board, a blurred image of the masked figure. She circles it twice, her voice low and steady. The leak was not a mistake, it was a message. And messages always have senders. The investigation sharpens. Wednesday corners Enid, her words sharp as blades. "Where were you when the photos were first shared?" Enid stammers, her voice defensive but shaky. I was asleep. I didn't even see them until everyone else did." Wednesday tilts her head, her eyes unblinking. Lies do not suit you. They shed their skin too quickly. Enid bursts into tears, insisting on her innocence. The scene ends not with comfort, but with Wednesday silently turning away, jotting something into her notebook. Next, she interrogates Xavier. In the art studio, he throws paintbrushes against the wall, shouting, "You think I'd do this to her?" His anger feels real, too raw to be rehearsed. Still, Wednesday only replies, "Emotions are effective camouflage." She scribbles another note, her suspicion unchanged. The montage escalates, Bianca slipping into the principal's office after hours. A secret meeting in the woods, faces lit by the glow of phone screens. Ophelia smashing her mirror in frustration, shards reflecting her fractured image. Wednesday running her fingers across a diary page she found. The word corruption etched violently in ink. The music grows darker, a relentless pulse that feels like it's driving the viewer toward something inevitable. Wednesday's narration grows colder, sharper. Nevermore is not falling apart. It is being dismantled, and the one who struck first will not stop until nothing remains. The section closes with Wednesday standing alone in the courtyard at midnight, staring at the same windows Ophelia did before. But instead of fear, her expression is steel? She whispers to herself, barely audible, "I see you." The screen cuts to black. Text appears, "The investigation has begun." Asterisk, the wind howls across Nevermore's forest, rattling branches like bones clashing together. The camera drifts through the trees, catching brief flashes of movement, shadows slipping behind trunks. A faint glow from a lantern, the crunch of hurried footsteps on dead leaves. The scene is fractured, unsettling, as though the forest itself is holding its breath. Wednesday is there, her black coat cutting through the darkness like a blade. Her eyes sweep across the ground, catching the faint imprint of boots in the mud. She follows, silent, methodical. Her narration comes in, quiet, but laced with venom. Secrets are parasites. Once released, they burrow deeper, feeding until their host collapses. But this secret, it was never meant to stay at Nevermore. It was meant to spread. Cut to Ophelia, stumbling through the woods with Xavier at her side. She clutches a torn notebook close to her chest, her breath ragged. The pages flap in the wind, and for a moment one word is visible in thick, desperate handwriting. Corruption. She whispers almost too quietly to hear. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. They promised it would stay hidden. Xavier grabs her shoulders, forcing her to stop. Who? Who promised you? She shakes her head, terrified, but before she can answer, a twig snaps in the distance. Both of them freeze. The forest swallows. Their voices, the shot cuts violently, flashes of a masked figure, their silhouette outlined by moonlight. They raise a camera. A single click echoes like a gunshot. Xavier spins around, but the figure vanishes into the dark, leaving only the sound of retreating footsteps. Back inside Nevermore, Wednesday spreads the stolen notebook across her desk. Strange symbols scrawl across the pages, circles filled with cryptic words. Drawings of eyes and serpents, names crossed out in red ink. At the bottom of one page, a chilling line is underlined 3 times. The photos are only the beginning. She reads aloud, her tone razor-sharp. This isn't about Ophelia. She was bait. Someone is turning secrets into weapons. And they're not finished. The montage intensifies. Dinka in her dorm, locking her door as someone tries to force it open. Enid sitting in the bathroom, tears streaking down her face, staring at hateful words scratched onto the mirror. You're next. Principal Weems burning documents in her fireplace, her expression grim and secretive. A laptop screen flickering with encrypted files, each opening with more disturbing images, more names, more targets. The camera returns to Wednesday, storming through the Academy's underground tunnels. Her flashlight beam cuts across stone walls, etched with strange markings. She pauses, her fingers brushing against fresh scratches. The same word again, corruption. A distorted voiceover enters, low and guttural like static on a broken radio. Nevermore must fall. Truth is the weapon, and the weapon is already loaded. The sound builds into chaos, footsteps pounding, doors slamming, whispers overlapping until they're deafening. The screen flashes in fragments. Ophelia screaming, Xavier throwing a punch in the dark, Bianca clutching a blood-stained note. Enid running through the halls with fear in her eyes. Finally, the music drops to silence. The scene slows. Wednesday stands in the forest clearing, facing the masked figure. They hold the camera like a weapon. She doesn't flinch. Her eyes lock onto theirs, unshaken. For the first time, she speaks directly to them. You've made your move. Now it's my turn. The masked figure tilts their head, then fades into the shadows, leaving only the echo of a laugh. Wednesday steps forward, her voice steady in narration. The photos were not the end. They were the spark, and the fire has only just begun. The trailer races into its climax, flames consuming a room inside Nevermore, students screaming, fleeing through smoke. Ophelia dropping the notebook into the fire, her face twisted with guilt. Xavier grabbing Wednesday's arm, shouting, If we don't stop them now, there won't be a Nevermore left to save. A final shot of Wednesday's typewriter, one sentence stamped in bold ink. Trust no one. The screen glitches violently, images overlapping Ophelia's tear-streaked face, the masked figure's reflection, the word corruption burning in red. The heartbeat-like music slams into one final beat, then silence. Black screen. White text fades in. Wednesday Season 3 fan trailer. Ophelia's leaked photos change everything. A whisper echoes in the darkness, so faint it feels almost imagined. You're next. Fade out.